Greetings my fellow Fright Fiends, it's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for our new episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and today's video is a tag video. I was tagged by my friend Sean Erschen. This is the Three from the Grave horror tag. Three from the Grave is a new channel here on YouTube, and it comprises of Lisa Loves, who I've been friends with for quite a while now. You also have Movie Massacre and Strange Monkey, and each of them has come up with one question in this tag. Again, my friend Sean tagged me, and at the end of this I will tag more people to keep this going. Also, make sure you subscribe to Three from the Grave. I'll put a link down below to their channel. They're all awesome people, and I want to see their channel grow and have success, and I want to thank my friend Sean for tagging me. So the first question comes from Lisa Loves, and this question is, I'm going to check my notes real quick. Of all the psychological slow burn horror films, what character do you wish you were most like? And this one is not necessarily a straight up psychological thriller, but it's a character that I've always been fascinated by, and I think it's because the way that this actor played the character, it was a very subdued role. It wasn't something that was very in your face or over the top. It was this kind of just calm creepiness, and that's going to have to go to the late great James Mason, who played Straker in my favorite film of all time, Salem's Lot. The character of Richard Straker has always been one that's fascinated me. It was the subtleties in this performance. You see that this character is conflicted as the film begins because he knows what's coming. He knows that Kurt Barlow is going to descend upon the town, that he's pretty much been invited into the town. And once that happens, there's no going back. He's putting all the pieces in place for this to happen, and you see that after every encounter with people within the town, you see that he's conflicted about what he's doing. But then as things do start to happen and Kurt Barlow does start to take over, you see that he starts to relish in this power of, you know, sort of taking over this town and its inhabitants, and I just love that. And I think James Mason's performance is brilliant. That's always one that I've always been fascinated by. I mean, I'm much more like Mark Petrie in the story in Salem's Lot. I was much more that kid. I was always that kid growing up. Where, you know, people looked at me like I was different because of the things I was into. People didn't, you know, think that I could do anything with my life because of, you know, not being into what normal kids were into. But, you know, but I've always been kind of drawn to the Straker performance as well. So that would be my answer. It would be Richard Straker, played by the late great James Mason in Salem's Lot. Question number 2 comes from Movie Massacre, and this one is, the question is, if you were a slasher icon, what would your look be, and what would your weapon of choice be? It's funny, when my wife came up with the idea of calling myself Boogeyman Ben, I've always considered that to be my kind of my persona. That's sort of the, you know, that's the persona I put out to people, and it comes out as, you know, very cool and laid back. But there is a dark side to the Boogeyman. That, you know, that would be the name that I would go with as the slasher icon. My mask, I believe, I would always want to wear a mask though. I always would want to cover my face up. I think that's one of the reasons I love the Jason character so much, as I love the mask, and Michael Myers the same thing. So I think mine would be kind of similar to, I don't know if people have seen Laid to Rest, but the chrome skull kind of look, but mine would be a little bit different. I would have it be almost like a red and black kind of look instead of the clear chrome look. I like that, and I would also have it a little bit more damaged, reminiscent of like Jason's mask in Friday the 13th of The New Blood. I like that look where it's kind of got the weather-beaten kind of look to it, so it'd be kind of this deformed looking skull with the kind of a red and black tint to it, and then have the battle damage. And my weapon of choice would be a weapon from Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood, and that is the tree saw, whatever you want to call it, that he goes after Dr. Cruz with. I think that's such an interesting weapon, and probably one of my favorite weapons Jason's ever had, and I think that would be a terrific weapon to go after victims with. It's not a chainsaw, it's not like a machete in terms of, you know, typically what people would say, but I think that weapon is so unique that I would love to incorporate that into my horror persona. Okay, and question number 3 comes from Strange Monkey, and it's, what horror movie monster would be the most difficult to get away from? And I'm gonna have to say, I think Freddy Krueger would be the most difficult one to get away from, because actually you do have to sleep. Freddy can get you in your dreams. I mean, you can stay awake as long as possible. Any other monster you can kind of hide from. I mean, I know that eventually they could find you. I mean, But Freddy has always been one that you're helpless. I mean, because eventually you do have to fall asleep, and I think he would be the one that would be the hardest to get away from, because once you're asleep, you're in his world, and he controls everything in his world. So that for me is, I think, the one where you would be the most helpless and be the most vulnerable. So that is my answers to the 3 from the Grave horror tag. I want to thank my friend Sean Erschen for tagging me, and I'm going to tag a few people too. I want to tag Phil's Creepy Vids, my friend Phil. I'm also going to tag Marie Gifford, awesome YouTuber who I absolutely adore. She's fantastic. Friend Kweeny Todd, another person that I absolutely adore. She's fantastic. I would love to see her answers to these questions. My friend Hocktober Blood, and Todd All Things Horror. So those are the people I am tagging. I hope everyone will continue this. Again, 3 from the Grave. I'll put the link down below to their channel, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video. And stay tuned for some more great stuff coming up real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace. I have a Patreon page. If everybody wants to help support me, the link is down below. And if you do help support me, Dracula here will get more treats, and Dracula really loves his treats. So any support that you can give me would be very, very much appreciated. Right, Drac?